Jack Dorsey retires from Twitter, and suddenly Square rebrands to Block in a nod to the blockchain. Yes, Square is rebranding just like Facebook rebranded to Meta and Google rebranded to Alphabet. The company has gotten so large that they now want a super name above all their other names. They have chosen the name Block. Block will tie together their units Square, the peer to peer cash app, and the music streaming service that no one uses called Tidal, as well as their Bitcoin focused financial services segment that they spent a lot of time naming, which is called TBD 545666975. The name has many associated meanings for the company: building blocks, neighborhood blocks, and their local businesses, communities coming together at block parties full of music, a blockchain, a section of code, and obstacles to overcome. Dan, will Block, Square, Cash App, title that no one uses, and title that no one uses overcome their obstacles?
Well, it's definitely trying to come up with a hip name, because Square obviously is a bit of a square name, isn't it? Maybe he was trying to do a Kodak, right? You remember when early 2018 when Kodak were like, oh, we're renaming, we're doing blockchain, and we're going to rename to Kodak blockchain or something like that, and their shares pumped 70%. Oddly, Squares have gone down from 190 from when they announced it to like 180, but obviously the rest of the markets are kind of in a semi tank at the moment. Twitter never did like announce that they were holding Bitcoin, which is quite interesting because, you know, obviously Twitter was Jack's original company, and you know, Square obviously back holding Bitcoin, and Twitter aren't. The new CEO is quite a kind of woke character, right? From what I've read up. So maybe he's not too happy about, maybe he'll have a different opinion on Bitcoin because of, you know, he's been swayed by these crazy environmental arguments that it's really bad for the environment and isn't good for kind of spurring on new renewables and encouraging, you know, investment into the renewable sector where you get the cheapest electricity. So it's kind of you know, it seems like a move that's following some of the other big names, like you said, like Google to Alphabet, Facebook to Meta, trying to stay hip with the times. I know that, you know, Twitter's share isn't kind of as big as Facebook, but, you know, so maybe they're kind of, you know, maybe I don't know why I brought up Twitter, but maybe, you know, he's just trying to kind of come up with something that's a bit more hip and that's going to, you know, make Block stand out compared to Square. And ultimately, he didn't actually mention that a block is like 6 squares, right, put together. So maybe that's got something to do with it. It's some sort of hidden meaning.
No, the hidden meaning isn't that hidden. It's Jack Dorsey's favorite function of Twitter.
What, blocking?
Yeah, absolutely. Just block, president, block.
Still sounds like fun. Josh Shigala, your thoughts on the Meta company Block and its alphabet?
Yeah,
alphabet blocks.
You know, it's yeah, I like it. I like that Jack's focusing on the blockchain and on crypto. I'm you know, really the thing that he could do is just get on with it, implement the Lightning Network on Twitter. Like, how hard is this, people? Yeah, just get in touch with Ben Ark. He'll sort you out. Twitter and Lightning Network are like a match made in heaven. And in fact, Gmail could really nicely implement a nice Lightning Network plugin as well, that you have to attach some sats to an email to get through to me or something. You know, like that technology needs to start being innovative again, because all we're seeing is higher resolution, or hey, now you get a few more characters, or now you get Twitter. Now we're going to just steal the idea from like Clubhouse and put it into Twitter. Innovate a little bit. You love Bitcoin. You love what you're doing with Square. Just put the Lightning Network into Twitter already. What are you messing about for?
Of course, everyone knows that Twitter has innovated recently, launching a subscription service that gives you the ability to edit your tweet. Is that what people wanted, Josh? A subscription service where you still get to see those lovely ads that pretend to be tweets, which are the worst thing that ever happened to Twitter. But isn't it great you can subscribe to fix your typos?
Man, I so want to fix my typos. I'm like a dyslexic nightmare when it comes to Twitter. And it's like, I like, why I can't, and then Jack Dorsey's coming, yeah, but you know, if you let people edit, then you can actually like, they start replying and not knowing what you've replied to in the thread mix. Every other chat app has fixed this issue by leaving a history. So you can see a little edited tag and you can click on it and you can see what someone wrote and how they changed it. It's not difficult, Jackie boy.
Only subscribers can fix their typos.
This is how Netflix, I go for job interviews.
Netflix, Apple Plus, Google Blue, Twitter Blue, fix those typos. That's what I want. Martine Wishmayer. Go ahead, Josh. What?
By the way, Jack, no offense. This is how I always go into job interviews, just totally offend the guy.
I'm sure he's at home wearing sandals and watching the Bitcoin group. Martine, your thoughts on the Jack Dorsey Square tidal wave of cash?
I always wondered how somebody can run so many companies. So in a way, I think it's good to see that he hands over control of Twitter to somebody else. It remains to be seen how Twitter will become more successful or at least profit making. The whole rebrand thing to block, I mean, this is so ICO times, blockchain, not Bitcoin. I mean, it's just silly. I like Square as a name. It's not great, but it grew on me. Of course, Square Service is not available in your country if you look in the App Store here in Europe. So I can't judge on the Square app. I do try this title thing. I think it's utterly trash. Why do they even keep trying that? I mean, Spotify, just took all of it. There's no room for a second one. Yes, there might be if there is some innovation, but this whole title thing, just like I maybe logged in once or twice and then I gave up. Yeah, I hope they do build out some nice blockchain applications or Bitcoin. Just skip the shit coins. It will save you a lot of time. But one of the things I recently read was that they had a white paper. I thought, wow, this is so 2017. We're having a white paper again for a decentralized exchange. So that might be cool if they're building something like that. So I think he wants to focus on a little bit more instead of being all over the place with all these different companies. So it does make sense for him to quit Twitter, because I don't know, Twitter, as Josh pointed out, his subscription service was just useless. It was not worth the money. And Twitter hasn't, for as far as I can see, hasn't really gained momentum in making any money. It's nice. It's popular. I use it at least 10 times a day. I open my Twitter client, but I'm using a third-party client. I'm not even using the Twitter client because it's just no good and it's not very productive. So I don't know. It's good. Jack moved on. I do hope if it's not going to be one of those woke companies like Dan pointed out, that they will say, oh, no more Bitcoin because the environment. But what's that, Josh? Josh, you adjusting your camera? Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, I totally. Rename it to whatever you want it to be, but don't focus too much on the name. Focus on the product. It makes no sense to keep rebranding yourself. Like Facebook moved to Meta. Who cares? It's still Mark Zuckerberg, and we don't like Facebook. So it's changing the name won't change anything about the company, in my opinion.
Yeah, and by the way, can we stop calling the internet the metaverse for the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, that's total bullshit, I think. Yeah. Oh, sorry, nonsense.
I find it really amazing how people just repeat stuff. A big company can just start to say the metaverse, and you're like, and then all of a sudden, every single mouthpiece on earth starts saying the metaverse. The
meta.
It's cyberspace. It's always been cyberspace or the internet. Why is cyberspace now the metaverse? Is it because Facebook decided to brand the entire internet?
Yeah,